Okay, hello everyone. Just one moment here. Okay, trying to get this set up here for you. Wasn't sure which avatar I was going to use today, so I think I will use this one. But I wanted to reach out to you and talk about Real Housewives of Potomac. As you can see, the title is Will the Real Colorist Please Stand Up? The colorist people really I I'll wait. I digress. Okay. Um anyway, welcome to Vlog Media Breeze, and we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac season 6. This is the reunion part 2, and I wanted to before I go any further just say that this episode, I'm going to keep it as light as possible. I know I do. I've been looking at my videos back, and I think I really criticize a lot, but it's true. I mean, I those are the things I mean to say, but I want to kind of provide some positivity to this channel. And anyway, you guys get in the comments, let me know what you think as well. It opens up where it left off last reunion, which is Candiace and Mia are continuing this back and forth with regards to Candiace calling, you know, Mia's mother low budget. And I believe that people are missing the point with with where I'm concerned with Candice anyway. It's not just that you called Mia's mother low budget. That is not my issue. My issue is the overall personality of Candice. It's just repulsive. It is just repulsive. And it's narcissistic. I was paying close attention to her last night, and her responses were so narcissistic, and she actually thinks she is the only one in the right. She's not even willing to compromise or to repent, for lack of better word. For example, she apologized to Mia, and Andy brings this up last night. She apologized to Mia. They on the boat, and then what does she do in this reunion? She says, "Your mama again." Candace is so, for me, unwanted on this show. I just do not want that kind of, I don't want to be looking at that for a whole hour. That's a lot of negativity to take in for a whole hour. And it is just unbeknownst to me why there are actually educated Black women on this over here on YouTube who think that Candace's behavior is okay. They are pointing out the yo mama point when it's not even just the yo mama. It is not just that for me anymore. It's the overall personality, the irresponsibility, and the narcissism, and the fact that she thinks that everyone's supposed to cater to her. And then she starts crying when you don't. Girl, get therapy. No, Kleenex should not give her any kind of uh, title at all. They should not have her promoting their brand or nothing. I will not buy a Kleenex if they use Candace, and I'll write letters to them. People keep saying, "Oh, girl, if you don't get your Kleenex deal," no. Companies, they look at the personality of the people and the character of the people who represent them. It's not just that you pull out a Kleenex every time you cry. That's not going to get it. You have to have some kind of character. So, Kleenex brand, no. Don't use Candace. That would be bad for your brand. I mean, she's up here calling people your mamas, and that's what you want on your Kleenex. You will be getting all kinds of letters from people who don't watch the show. So I digress on that. But Mia opens up, they open up with Mia saying that her mother wanted to be on the show to tell her story. I don't know if I believe that. I'm beginning to see Mia as quite pathological when it comes to lying because she will just say anything to get her way and to make herself look good. I cannot see her mother saying to her, "Listen, I want to tell my story." Because let's be real clear, you guys, her mother doesn't have a story to tell that will encourage other women who have been in that same predicament. Because her mother is still, if you ask me, trying to come out of it. They go back and forth between Candice and Karen and Gizelle and Candice and Gizelle and Karen, and it's just a whole lot of back and forth about Candice's persona on the show and what she's representing in terms of her character on the show. And all of the ladies are chiming in, talking to her about it, and they show a flashback where Karen and Candice were having a disagreement, and Candice said to Karen, "Oh, it's evil. Candice, you are the most evil on the show. You think that just because Monique, held your head down on the table, that that's the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody on these shows, and that people need to really lift you up and feel bad about you. We do not feel bad for you. We do not feel bad for you. Move on, girl. Don't provoke people." That's what I have to say about that. Don't provoke people to hit you or to get so angry at you, especially when they have already told you they will drag you. At some point, they might try to drag you, and you don't want to be dragged. I don't want to be dragged. I mean, you tell me you're going to drag me, I'm going to be like, oh, let me stay away from her. I can't be getting dragged out here. But you go and you entice the opportunity to be dragged. You gonna drag me, Monique? But you was asleep though, hitting your glass. Girl, grow up. This is, and to Bravo TV, Andy Cohen. This is a show about mature women who have accomplished something on their own or through their marriages. And they're having some drama, but they're not having this kind of drama that Candace has. Karen tells her that eventually everyone's going to tune her out. Now, I don't really know what Karen meant by that. She said eventually, people may tune you out. And Karen has this way of, I know a lot of people like her. She's classy. She does have a very classy demeanor about her. But whenever she says something, she has this way of saying something nice, but you kind of feel like she doesn't really mean it to be nice. In a classy way. She's just saying it because it sounds nice, and she's saying it to get beyond not saying anything negative. Because she said, everyone may tune you out. But then after that, she said, and we love you and blah, blah, this. But I don't think she really cares for Candace that much. Just like I don't think she really cares for Ashley. When she told Ashley a few seasons ago that she didn't want her daughter hanging out with her, I believe her. She don't want her daughter hanging out with Ashley. She does not want her daughter hanging out with Ashley. And Ashley was offended by that. Um, so as they are going back and forth and talking to Candace about her attitude and what she's representing on the show, Candace brings up Gizelle. She says to Gizelle, you walked your friend Robin into Ashley's restaurant to attack Ashley. So she made a good point right there. I have to give kudos to her on that point because that did happen. And not only did Gizelle walk Robin into Ashley's restaurant to attack Ashley, but last year, when you look at the film, she is the one who pushed Monique. She pushed Monique and then she lied about it. So she is not the one to be trying to redirect Candace and her attitude because Gizelle, as a woman in her 50s, has issues herself. After they said that, they started showing some flashback clips of when Robin was all up in Ashley's face about she was touching her, pointing. So she can't say nothing about Monique either. Yet they wanted Monique off the show. She said, when I saw Ashley, I saw red. So it's okay for you to see Ashley and see red, but not for Monique to see Candiace and see red? These ladies are so sociopathic in nature. I'm not lying. They really are. Andy then skips over to Mia. And again, you guys, I'm doing the Real Housewives of Potomac, and I'm not going to be here long. I'm just giving my commentary and my view of last night's episode of the reunion part 2, season 6. So Andy then goes over to the side of Mia, and he says to her, he says, I'm going to tell you like what I told Candiace last year. You've become a disaster on social media. So Mia blamed her social media manager. Mia is really pathological. Another, like, you know good and well that that was Mia responding to social media, looking around trying to see how people were feeling about her and what they were saying, and she was responding. Wendy asked a question though. She says, how could your social media manager know a scholar lived in a townhouse? Only you would know that. That's not true. That is not true. And then Candace says that your social media manager would not be would not know certain types of information. That is also not true. Social media managers do research. If you have a real social media manager, they do research because they are supposed to be responding to comments for companies. Like companies hire, like Coca-Cola has a social media manager. So the social media manager at Coca-Cola knows all about Pepsi and they know about Coca-Cola. They don't just know about the person or the company they work for. So Candace and Wendy, thereby showing their ignorance, saying that your social media manager wouldn't do this or wouldn't know that, they would know that. At the same time, I do not believe Mia. I do not believe that she had a social media manager doing that work for her. She may have people on her social media who reply and respond from time to time about things. Like I went on her social media and I wrote something, I put in too much makeup. Her social one of the people came right back and told me to shut up. Your social media manager should not be telling people to shut up. They need to have a more professional, refined response to what people are saying to you. It needs to be, it shouldn't be combative. It should be professional. But Mia, in reality, you guys, is quite hood. Okay. She's putting on this air that she is this person that she really is not. It is an air to make people think that she thinks that money is what makes you, and it's not. It's your character that makes you. Money is a resource for you to be able to have the things that you have, but money doesn't make you. Money doesn't turn your character into this great person that it should be. But her head is swollen because she, of course, was on a pole a lot. And so, allegedly, she says she wasn't. But if you were working in the places that you say you were working, Mia, I digress. Candace goes on to say she consistently wields her socioeconomic status as a weapon. Well, Candace, you consistently wield your degrading mouth as a weapon. So one is not greater than the other. You wield your mouth, she wields her socioeconomic status. When two people are in combat verbally, one is going to wield what they wield and the other is going to wield what they wield. This is the other part of Candace that lets you see how narcissistic she is. She thinks it's okay for her to say what she wants out of her mouth, but when someone else says something that they want and they use something out of their mouth, then it's a problem. You are not any better, Candace. So they take a break. And during the break, I thought it was really classy for Ashley to ask Mia if she was okay. I really thought it was very classy. She said, Mia, are you okay? Are you okay, Mia? And Mia said, yeah, you guys should warn me about this. She, goes in, and the fact that she said that lets me know she's hurt. She's hurting about what's going on the stage. And I really wanna see Mia come back next season. The word on the street is she might not come back, and I really do want her to come back because I think that she has something to offer the show. At the same time, I wanna watch her grow on the show. I don't want her to continue to fabricate and to make up things because the way you read a person in reality, you guys, is to be honest. You read a person by being honest with what's really happening. Like Mia didn't have to say her mother wanted to tell her story. She could have said, "I brought my mother onto the show because she is my mother. She is a part of my family, and this is a reality show, so that's reality. And you all should consider it an honor that I'm sharing my story with you." Because most of the time people would come on a show like this and they wouldn't want to share that with you. And I'm opening up to you, and as I open up, you are stomping on me. You are the same kind of women that I read about or hear should be working in the community, working with charities, really helping to improve the lives of other people or other women and children. And you're doing this to me on the show. So you need to think about that. I would have crushed them in a read. But I just wanted to get back to the break because it was really, I just thought so classy of Ashley to ask Mia if she was okay. I that just warmed my heart. I like Ashley. I really like Ashley. And one of the things I really like about Ashley is how she treats her mother in spite of her mother's history and the neglect she experienced, because Ashley was not living under that bridge with her mother the way that people like to say. Ashley was living with her uncle and her aunt. And as hurt as she was by her mother's lack of presence in her life, even now she has something and she's trying to take care of her mom. What a daughter. And that's what we do in the Black community, Candace. Okay. I can't wait to get to the colorism part, you guys. But at any rate, here we go. During the break, Wendy goes into the room of Candace, and I know that Wendy is trying to be supportive of Candace because she and Candace were good friends last season, and Candace was supportive of her being on the show. And so she is trying to, I know she sees what's going on with Candace and does not want to desert her. So she goes into the room and she says to Candace, out of the group, your words hit the hardest. And I believe Candace received that message. Wendy knew the cameras was there, so she wasn't going to really hit her hard, but she wanted her to know, be cautious of what you say. And that's what Wendy is trying to say to her in that room. And I believe, again, Candace received it. At the same time, her words that she used to defend herself were, well, it could have been worse. She was grateful. I mean, and she was ungrateful. It could have been worse. I could have said a lot of other things. That right there lets you know she's unrepentant and she is not sorry for what she said. On the boat, you may as well erase that apology out of your head. Candace is not sorry. They returned back to, well, there was a commercial. I like to talk about commercials. During this commercial, they showed like Spectrum Mobile. They showed this location in Charlotte called circadianrejuvenation.com. And they showed Vanderpump Rules, which comes on Tuesday at 9 p.m. That's what they showed. And then they came back from the commercial break. And one of the things I noticed when they came back and the camera was spanning the room, the ladies' dresses look beautiful. They all look beautiful. I do not have one issue with the fashion at all. Not any of them. They all had great fashion. There's not one who is even really less than the other. Some of the colors are brighter, but the fashion and even the way that production set up their gowns to flow on the floor was just a beautiful setting. And Giselle looked beautiful. I like what she chose, and she may have chosen that for that setting. And if she didn't, it was a good choice because it blended everything out. And people love to talk crap about Giselle's fashions. I believe sometimes her fashions are inappropriate. For example, one time all the other ladies were dressed up and she had on jeans. So things like that, I believe. In her confessionals during this season, I thought she looked beautiful and I liked all of her fashions in her confessionals, the white, everything. I want her to get a new stylist. I know she's been working with this guy, just learned his name. It's Kyle. I think that's his name. Giselle needs to see her stylist as a business. This is a business. You're simply going to change businesses. Make a change, Giselle, not because you want to please the viewers, but because it really would behoove you to do so. Next season, have a new stylist. You need to get rid of this stylist and let him go on his way and do someone else what he's been doing you all these years. Child, just Giselle, okay? Giselle looked pretty, but all of the women looked beautiful. Mia looked beautiful last night from the front. Sometimes they show a side view of Mia that is is different than other views, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's the camera, if it's the editing. I don't know what's going on there. And she looked beautiful though last night. I liked Karen's earrings. I liked all the earrings actually, even Candice's earrings. All of them look really good. But I really like Karen's earrings. Andy asked Giselle and Karen if their friendship was just about dead. Had this season. The cameras go, they show different segments of clips, and they show one of the flashbacks where Ray is telling Giselle, "You're going to need to attract guys while you can." I told you guys, people think that the Ray that they saw at Williamsburg and the other place that they went, where was it? Out on, not Williamsburg, but the Bay, um, Chesapeake Bay, Wendy's trip. They think that Ray is new. That Ray is not new. This is who Ray is. This is who he has been season after season when they show Ray. And that was just funny. You're going to need to attract guys while you can. I love Ray. I would love for Ray, if I needed advice, and Ray and Karen were my friends, I would make sure Ray was the one giving me the advice. Um, then they show Karen talking about Sing Sing. And that's why we went to Sing Sing, after she called Giselle, some things that I'm not going to mention here. But if you saw the show, she really let Giselle have it. And she said she apologized, but she stayed with her comment about Giselle's reputation at Hampton. She said because that's what she had heard. They show her and Giselle reconnecting in the van, which is it was very reminiscent of the first season. It was very reminiscent of the first season. So you'll get in the comments, let me know. Get in the chat, let me know what you think. And so I'm going to move forward because Karen goes on to tell Giselle that her daughter Raven was upset about Giselle's comments because after Ray told her she's going to need to attract guys while she can, they show her in a confessional saying that Ray would be 6 feet under before she loses all of her good looks. And Karen's daughter Raven did not like that comment. She was upset with Giselle about the comments, and Karen lets Gizelle know that. Then Robin interjects again to protect Gizelle. Robin, please stop. Gizelle and Karen continue to try to talk some sense to Candiace, and they explain to Candiace, Gizelle and I, we go back and forth all the time with some of the hardest comments, but we don't attack each other. We sat across the table from each other and didn't attack each other. Candiace is not getting the message. Andy asks Karen and Gizelle to make up. And Gizelle, in tears, begins to talk about how Karen hugged it out with her daughters when she saw her daughters come out and how that really made her feel good. And I can imagine that because even if you are a single mom or a single dad and you are raising your children, it is important to have other adult figures around them so they can see a variation of people. I grew up around a variation of people. Now, granted, most of the people in our neighborhood were definitely heterosexual and married. They kept up their lawn, they kept up their homes, they had flowers out. And you don't see that in neighborhoods anymore. You do not even see that in Black neighborhoods. Whenever you ride through them, you're like, well, where are the flowers? It looks so dead over here. I digress. Let me stop. Maybe that's just in the neighborhoods that I see here in Charlotte. Karen, uh, Andy says, I would like for Karen and Gizelle to hug. And they get up and they hug it out and they do a little playful hug. And that just made me feel so good. I just really liked that. I really did because I remember when Karen and Giselle were on the first season and they were good friends, even though they were, going back and forth a little bit. It was lighter then than it is now. And Charisse was on then, and Charisse and Giselle were having some tiffs back then as well. At that time, I remember taking it as though Karen and Charisse were jealous of Giselle. They were jealous because she was hogging the cameras. That is what I remember thinking. At the same time, I loved whenever they hugged. So let's just be clear here because one of the conversations that took place last night was Candiace accused Ashley of what did she accuse her of? Of calling her hair dry. So let's just be clear. Candiace called Ashley a wide body ASS, okay, before Ashley talked about her dry hair. And even before that, Candiace had been saying things to Ashley long before Ashley said anything. She had been calling the girl names, she had been body shaming, mommy shaming, everything. And so finally, Ashley said, with your dry hair. Listen, look at me. I'm a dark skinned sister. I was not offended by Ashley calling Candiace's hair dry. Candiace should not have been picking on Ashley. I have I have a housewives that I really rock with, that I really roll with. But if those same housewives do something that goes against what my value system and quality of life is, I'm going to bring it out. And I used to love Candiace on this show. In fact, her first season here, when she was in that vehicle and she uh, called Charisse geriatric something, that's the kind of shade I like to I like for Candiace to be a part of. But now she has gone into a very dark place. And it's not good. And it's time for her to move on off of the show. Go do your music career, God bless you in your music career. Go do another reality show. But on My Housewives, I don't want Candiace there. She likes to think she's the only one who can say the worst to somebody, but no one else can say anything to her. They're just mad because I am an orator. You are not an orator. You're an a-hole. You are an a-hole, Candiace. Why does she relish to being so nasty to Ashley about her postpartum? She just relishes that. And I really do believe she's jealous of Ashley because Ashley's a very Candiace is pretty, right? But Ashley is as pretty, and Ashley is married to a white male with money, and Candiace is not. Ashley has her family now, 2 kids now. Candiace does not. And I do believe there's some jealousy. One of the viewers asked Andy, sent a question in that said, "Do you consider what Michael said about your body to also be body shaming?" Ashley answers that and says that her and Michael are both into health of the body and keeping it up. And when he asked her the question, it wasn't along the same context as Candiace. And I want to say to everyone, stop putting everyone else on the same level as a spouse. When a spouse does or says something to you, I'm not going to take something that you said, even though it may be the same thing that my husband says. I'm not going to take that from you. I may take it from him. So for people to say, "Oh, do you consider what Michael said?" She doesn't have to treat her husband equal to Candiace. That's her husband. That's him and her having an intimate conversation, a conversation between the two of them. They should be able to say whatever they want to each other, but anybody on the outside really should not say those things. So no, if I was Ashley, I would have said that too. I would have said, no, I don't consider that body shaming. He's my husband. There are things that we have in our relationship as husband and wife. We're going to be open. We're going to conversate. Of course, I'm going to take that differently. However, Candiace can't say that to me. Candiace needs to go somewhere and mind her business. She ain't effing me. Why does she care about my body and my big head? I ain't effing her. Candiace goes on to say, now this is where the colorism comes in. I'm a Black woman, and she has made comments about my hair being dry. Here's my comment on that, you guys. Do you see how Candiace uses this to make Ashley look bad just for writing a letter on behalf of Monique? That's what all this boils down to. The real colorists on the show are Wendy and Candiace. Wendy and Candiace are the real colorists on the show. And Gizelle. Gizelle is a colorist. I think Robin is not a colorist. I think that Robin really likes to have a fair. Robin really is just one of those people who just she sees herself as Black. I mean, she's a Delta. She really can't be being a Delta. You can't be colorist, honey, for real. Okay. Um, but Gizelle is colorist. In my humble opinion, Gizelle is colorist. Wendy is definitely a colorist. I listen. I spotted Wendy last year on whenever she first said to Ashley, "People like you call me doctor." She wasn't telling anyone else at that table, "People like you." She did that to Ashley. Number one, because I think she's a colorist. Number two, I also think because Candiace was in her ear about Ashley. Because Candiace had started having issues with Ashley before then. So Candiace is so upset about this letter, which these women, I'm like, you guys have really got to stop babying this girl. Really. The answers you give her, you need to sock it to her the way she socks it to you. Ashley does not, because Ashley does not owe Candiace any explanation at all for writing that letter. Ashley is a grown woman. As a grown woman, if she sees something happening and it needs to be justified, then that's why you write the letter. You don't write the letter just because Monique came and helped you and Michael out. You write the letter because that's what happened. She threw a knife at you. Let the courts know. If she and Candiace, to tell you how narcissistic she is, she didn't even last week in the reunion, she did not even remember throwing the knife at Ashley. That's just how psychotic her mind is. She remembers nothing like that. Ashley, you do not owe Candiace any explanation for that letter. For Candiace to sit there and try to make you feel guilty for writing a letter on behalf of Monique, Ashley, stop giving her reasons. Candiace is really a disgrace. If you want to talk about representations of Black women, Candiace is a disgrace. And she's jealous of Ashley, bottom line. And that's where I stand with that. And she did say, because he drives his slaves. Even though in her write-up about Ashley, she wrote that she called her husband an overseer. That is terminology that was used in the slave days. Slave master, overseer. Because the slave masters would stand over our ancestors. The white men would stand over them as they worked. They were called overseers. And then whenever Ashley brought it up this season, Candiace says, because he drives his slaves. So she held down that statement. The girl is a narcissist. Then Robin intervenes. Robin, just shut up. I'm not even going to repeat what Robin said because I just want Robin to shut up. Okay, so let me just move on out of here, okay? Wendy also, you guys, is somewhat of a gaslighter because she looks at Ashley and says, so let me ask you this. Do you think there's colorism in this group? And Ashley said no. Well, Ashley, that's not true. There is colorism. You should have said, yeah, I think you're a colorist by the way you treated me last year. How are you saying that only light-skinned people can be colorists? Now listen, I'm going to say this about racism and colorism, okay? Racism, Black people cannot be racist. Black people who react to the way white people are treating them, that's not racist. That's a reaction. That's them reacting to how they are being treated, how we are being treated. It's not that we are racist. When Black people say they hate white people, they're not saying they hate them because they're white. They're saying they hate what they do to us because we're Black. So Black people cannot be racist. In fact, Black people are the reason the word racism exists at all. And the fact that Asians and other people come over here and use a term that we created, and then they turn around and hate us. Child, I can't. Lord Jesus, come soon. Lord Jesus, come soon and rule this world and get these ninjas out of here. White ninjas, all of them. Because it's pathetic. And I'm only saying that because when it comes to colorism inside of the Black race, that is like an intern. That's like an intern. It's like a family thing, right? It's like a family thing. It's a family issue. So there are dark-skinned women who are jealous of lighter-skinned women. So I don't know if that's colorism, but they are certainly jealous, and they wreak havoc on them. And there are light-skinned women who just don't like dark-skinned women because they're dark. That happens in the Black race, you guys. They will go hang out with all of their light-skinned friends, and they don't want you in their circle. And that's what Gizelle demonstrates on this show. That's why she only hangs with Ashley and Robin, and that's why this season she's going after Candiace. So Candiace, if you want to call someone a colorist, look to your left, your right on that couch. Look to your right. As far as I can see, Gizelle is a colorist and Wendy. And I think that's why Wendy came for Gizelle this season to a degree. I think that she would have come for Gizelle for anything almost. Even though I liked when she came for Gizelle. I think she was looking for a reason to come for Gizelle because Wendy is a person who definitely knows this show. She knew it before she came on. She knew how Gizelle was. And I believe her strategy was to befriend Gizelle at first, because that would be my strategy. Go in the show, befriend her, get the inner workings of how she is, get her on your side, and then go in for the kill. And that's what I think Wendy did. That is exactly what that this thing with Eddie was just an open opportunity for her to do so. Because even though we like that Wendy did that, we liked it just because Gizelle does so much to people on the show. At the same time, when you look back at it, did it warrant all that she did? Did it warrant all of that, as Gizelle was sitting there saying, "Look, we don't believe it. Let it go." Um, One of the other things, now Andy goes into the Zen when, and they start showing flashbacks, clips of Wendy when she was calling herself Zen Wen. I'm trying to see where. Oh, this is funny. When they were showing some of those clips, they showed Ashley. They showed Wendy. You know, when she got her body done, and she sent them all a text inviting them to her home so she could break the news to all of them. And whenever Ashley was reading the invite on her phone, she says to little Dean, "Dean, close your eyes." And Dean closed his eyes. It was so cute, you guys. It was so cute. He was so cute. He closed his eye. Too adorable. Too adorable. I want to know, where can we purchase these candles? Because ever since I heard Andy say that Wendy's candle smelled good when he went into her dressing room, I now want to purchase her candle. I wasn't going to spend $40. I've never spent $40 on a candle. I literally spend like $10 on a candle at Home Goods. Literally. And sometimes I get candles from Crate and Barrel at Christmas time. But I've never spent 40 some dollars on one. And I don't like how Wendy and Karen are doing this either with these candles, because let me tell you how the economy works and marketing. When you have a company, the first company that comes out and raises their price on a product, other companies see that and they fall behind them. So look eventually for other candles to cost $45 and $50 for 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick. Eventually that's going to happen, because other companies are going to say, "Oh, well, they're going to weigh the worth of the candle." So for them to do this, I don't like this is why people who don't know anything about business shouldn't be creating anything. I wish there were some stricter rules about people who create products and create pricing for products. Seems like this should be something that is illegal. The price should be illegal, because seems like in marketing we were told if your price is not comparable to something or something. It's something I cannot even remember, you guys. But it seems like there's something illegal about the price of her candle and Karen's candle. The other thing that really um, struck me, well, I'll get to that in a minute. I just wanted to know, where could we purchase these candles? So Wendy, there's a question about her surgeries. A viewer asked those questions. What did she have? And she says she had a lift, which was her boob. She had implants implemented in her boob, in her skin, in her boobs. And she had a BBL, whatever that is. And she described it as being the lipo in her stomach. She had lipo in her stomach, and then they put it in her butt. She also, you guys, did something that I really like that she was cognizant of. And this is so, I love when people are cognizant of their audience and things that they need to educate them on as they are giving us this information. Wendy said that she made sure to go to a board certified doctor. She talked about her surgery in a way that showed responsibility. She talked about her surgery in a way that showed responsibility, and I loved it so much, because she said She talked about how people die from having plastic surgery, and she summarized about how they die, and that's why it's important to make sure you have a board certified doctor and that you do your research on your doctors before having the surgery. That was a very responsible moment, you guys. Take heed. The cameras start spanning the room with the ladies, and I'm going, these women are beautiful. I can't imagine what they look like in person. Even Robin is beautiful. I just don't want her on the show. The only thing I didn't like about Robin, at first I said I didn't like her makeup in my previous video. I don't like her eyeshadow with what she's wearing. I think that whoever did her makeup, they did fine on everything except her eyeshadow. And they should have given her a little more baby hair on the side where she has that decorative hairpiece above her ear. They should have put a little more baby hair there, have it laying down a little more, and just changed her eye color. So whoever's doing her makeup, probably Kyle, okay, she needs to change as well. She might be doing it. So Robin and Wendy go back and forth about their friendship, and Wendy didn't like that Robin focused so much on her body, and Robin said, "No, the comments I made were less about your appearance and more about your personality." When she was talking about she had changed. And I thought that was honest of Robin. She was being honest about that. Then Gizelle asked Wendy if she rehearsed her lines, or one of them said something about her rehearsing her shade. And Wendy said to them, "You know what? It may sound so eloquent that you think it's shade." Oh, it was a viewer. The viewer asked that question. Ask her if she practiced it, if she rehearses her words or her lines or her shade or her reads or whatever you call it. And Wendy told them, "Listen, if I can go up against the White House secretary, then I can certainly go up against you ladies. So my lines may be so eloquent that you think they're rehearsed, but they're not." And they got a little silent on that and moved on. Andy reminded Karen about the one wick wonder comment that she made about Wendy's candle. And Wendy goes on to tell Andy, and Andy found this was kind of humorous. She says she has a 5-wick and a 7-wick candle now. And Andy just dropped his pages. I thought that was a cute moment. He said, "It's unprecedented. Unprecedented." He gets up out of his chair. He's like, "What? I'm done. You have a 5-wick and a 7-wick. That's not been done." Well, let me tell you, there should even be something illegal about that. What about houses that burn down with candles? And she's doing a 5-wick. This is why, if you are going to create a product, there should be something that you need to take or understand about business before people just put you on the market like that. Have you selling candles? They go to another break, commercial break, and I'm almost done here, you guys. This is Real Housewives of Potomac, and I'm ending it. It's going to be done in less than 5 minutes at this point, okay? After the break, they come back, and this was so disgusting. Robin lets us know she's constipated. She tried to take a shish during the break, and she couldn't. And then she goes on to tell us her shish schedule. Get her off the show. No class at all. No class at all. Go sell those caps, go create a candle, do something. She should have been doing something all these years on the show anyway, instead of thinking that Gizelle was going to carry her. I want Robin off mainly because I want Gizelle to be there by herself, and I want to see how she handles things at that point. The last part of this reunion last night, they start talking about Eddie Oseffo's affair and the baby. They show flashback clips of it, and they also show, remember the avatar over here on YouTube who broke that story about Eddie Oseffo's affair and the baby. and had also broke that news about what else did they break the news about? Well, anyway, the ladies demolished the credibility of All About the Tea last night. Robin said that they got the information from a non-credible blog. And as she was saying it, they showed up, and you guys, I'm only saying All About the Tea because it was on the show last night, okay? That's the only reason. They showed that clip of with All About the Tea. I did not know that was the one who broke the story. But and they went on to say they called that whole um YouTuber a lie. They said, "Oh, she creates a lot of lies." The only thing I would disagree with them on is Wendy went on to say that the reason she was bothered by Giselle's process of exposing Eddie's affair on air while they were filming is because with a blog, she said that blog gets hundreds of people. This show gets millions. She exaggerated big time because up until, the issue that happened with that blog was getting thousands, okay? Thousands, thousands, thousands was really coming up. So for Wendy to say, "Oh, that blog gets hundreds," Wendy, that tells you she doesn't even know what she's talking about. She's definitely not a business person, not paying attention to the numbers like that. And the other side of her lie is, let me tell you, Bravo does not get millions. Even this season, some of the Housewives shows were under a million in ratings and views, which is unbeknownst to me because I remember a time whenever television shows were getting 2 million in ratings. So for them to be under a million, that's sad with some of those shows. And listen, housewife, there are bloggers here on YouTube who are even getting more viewers than Bravo with the Real Housewives of Potomac, even though Real Housewives of Potomac is getting really high views, high ratings right now. Who is it that used to do the ratings? Nielsen. Do they still do the ratings? Nielsen, do they still do the ratings? Because I'm gonna have to look that up. I wonder if they still do the ratings. At any rate, I believed Gizelle. Gizelle gave her reason for saying what she said about Eddie, and she said she was coming to her um, with goodness, but then Wendy talked about how she saw in the episode where Gizelle was sharing the information in a negative light. And at this point, it doesn't matter. I do not believe that Eddie Asafo has a baby out there anywhere. Because if he did, we would have known it by now. Because Lord knows, we found out about Martell's baby. It didn't even take long. As soon as people started talking, the baby came out, was advertising everything. So let's see what you guys are saying in the comments here. You say Wendy needs to tell Candiace the truth. You can be someone's friend without holding them in the wrong. Okay. And I think that Wendy tried to do that in the dressing room. Whenever they showed them last night entering the dressing room, she said to Candiace, your words, they hurt, they go deep. And that was her way of trying to communicate to Candiace to be cautious. I believe Candiace received it, but then Candiace immediately defended herself. So I don't know if she received it at all. And so with that being said, my dream for this channel is that I will get more than just one person with comments whenever I come over here and do my reviews, because it's so much fun when I go on the other channels and I see them getting everyone involved. And this may be God's way, or as some people would say, the universe's way of telling me that this may not be my gig. I'm gonna do it a few more times. I'm gonna try to figure it out. This may not be my gig, but I love talking about the Real Housewives, and I love communicating and having a bunch of different people over here. And my issue is that the behavior of the people who normally get in the chat, it's generally the same, which makes me think you've just changed your name. So this time I'm not gonna block you. Um, I digress. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm going to get ready and do Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because I don't, I do not review Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I am going to review the show from last night just because it was so intense. And I don't have a lot. I think I have like four little, yeah, it's like four segments that I'm going to do on the show that I really want to capture and talk about, and I'll move on from it. So I'm going to do that next. And then tomorrow I'm going to do some news for you. At any rate, many blessings to you. If you are here in the replay, and if you are here now, please click the like, subscribe, and notifications button, and you'll be able to get my videos. And thank you for showing up. Many blessings to you. Thank you so much to my subscribers. And I really hope that you continue to come back here and let me know what you think about the shows and participate with me. Okay? Many blessings. Bye bye.